What's going on, team? Welcome to an episode of the Keep Going Podcast, Season 2. This is your co-host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Before the show starts, make sure to follow us on our socials, okay? Twitter, the Keep Going Pod, Insta, the KG Podcast, and YouTube at the KG Pod. Just a reminder that we are not psychiatrists and not psychologists, just a couple ex-athletes trying to make a difference and end the stigma of mental health. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get to the show.
That keep going moment.
My keep going moment.
That's my keep going moment.
Let's keep going. Episode 46 of the Keep Going Podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. This is your co-host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm joined by Pat O'Malley up here and Jackie below me. How we doing, guys?
Doing good. I'm coming out of Plymouth this week. I hope everybody had a good week, and I'm amped for this episode, so let's go.
No doubt. Same way. My end. I'm coming out of Roscoe, Illinois, and super excited to have the juice. Like I said, with DeJuan coming on today. DeJuan, what's up with you, brother?
What's up, guys? I'm living in life. Sunday, it's football Sunday, so just sitting here watching my Bills play in London. So let's rock.
Hey,
sure.
It's a Herm Edwards episode, so it's fitting that it's an NFL Sunday. We got Herm Edwards 446 back in the day, so it's a good episode for sure.
No, absolutely. And DeJuan, that's something goofy. If you've listened to episodes before, we always talk about the jersey number of the episode. Any number 46 in your sport world that you could shout out, or what?
46.
Tough number.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one, man. Everybody I know who wore the number 46, they was usually sitting on the bench, so I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
I say Herm wore 46. I don't know how good Herm was back in the day. I know he's a heck of a coach, but I don't know how he played back in the day. So we'll see.
I'm about to say, Jackie, do you have a 46 today?
I don't. I can't think of one. Nothing's coming to my head.
All right. Well, I actually have one. Lee Smith is my pick today, and he's a former Cubbies pitcher. Pretty darn good one. But, man, I had to dig through the archives to pull that one out. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It was one of those he had to wear it one time or something like that.
Oh, my God, man. He actually was really good. It was just before all of our time. So, that's all it was. But, no, I love the Herm Edwards call. But, DeJuan, like I mentioned, man, we're super excited to have you here, especially on a football Sunday with your background. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you've done so far career-wise and why you were a good fit for the pod today.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me on. Just kind of like a quick spiel. I've been in the strength and conditioning field since 2002. That's when I started as an intern back at the University of Tennessee. And since then, I've done a lot of work with like special operations on the military side. Just finished up my second season with the Buffalo Bills as a strength and conditioning preseason intern coach, and currently back at Fort Stewart, Georgia, working with the military doing strength and conditioning. So it's kept me in that sports side of things, more to say. Keeps me physically active, keeps me mentally sharp, and it's just something I've kind of tapped into and just hadn't really turned back from it ever since then.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. I told Luke right away. I told Luke, I'm like, this guy is a bad man. Like, I just started looking into what you've done so far, and I've never questioned a single guest that we brought on, but I'm like, this guy has made some impact. Luke, what do you got for me?
No, he's about it, man. He's an author. He's authored a book about strength and conditioning. He's been on American Ninja Warrior, man. He's doing a preseason intern with the Buffalo Bills is no joke. So I knew, and he's on top of everything. Hold on. On top of everything,
sure.
The Maryville College Scot.
Yes.
Scot. On top of everything. So I knew DeJuan, and as soon as I met him at one of our alumni events, I knew he was the perfect personality and the perfect kind of advocate to get on here because strength and conditioning, man, we talk about it all the time on the podcast, how it's good for your mental health. And DeJuan is a leader in that field. So we were excited to have you on, man.
No doubt. And I don't know how this happened, Luke, and I'll kick it over to Jackie, who's actually a Patriots fan. So this should be a little bit interesting today. But when it comes to this podcast, Luke, I don't know how this became a Buffalo Bills podcast with like brother Bill coming on, now DeJuan. This has been hype, though. I'm all for it.
We had Brother Bill on in like March, DeJuan, something like
Oh,
that.
for real? Yeah.
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 So Pat and Brother Bill are pretty good buddies. Yeah.
Hey,
Yep. He's
I,
a good
I,
dude. What?
I gotta
Go
go back
ahead.
and check the episode out.
Yeah, no doubt.
sure.
Do you know, have you ever talked to him before, like on social?
I have not.
Damn. Okay, I'm gonna get you guys connected for sure. But I'm gonna kick it to Jackie. What do you got?
When were you on American Ninja Warrior? Because I used to watch that like crazy.
Oh my gosh. So we got time I can give you the full story of how this happened. So what was it?
As much as you want, man.
2017, they were doing like the big push, I guess, for American Ninja Warrior. And at the time, I was living in North Carolina. So I had submitted my application while I was still in Georgia, but then I moved to North Carolina. So I was asleep one day in my car on break, and I got this phone call. I thought it was my friends playing a prank on me. They was like, "Hey, this is American Ninja Warrior. We saw your audition tape, and we want you to come try out." I was like, "Who the fuck is this, man? Like, who's this is not real." The lady started laughing. She's like, "No, this is really American Ninja." I was like, "Seriously?" So I woke up like really quick out of my car. I was like, "Seriously?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Where are you now?" I was like, "I live in North Carolina." She's like, "Okay, cool. We need you to go to Pittsburgh on this day to try out." Like, I get there, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be exciting, blah, blah, blah." It was a lot of fun, but I didn't know that they filmed all the episodes like at 2 a.m. to like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like I was there at like 11 p.m. I didn't make my run on that course till almost like 2:30 in the morning.
Well, yeah, because they do it in like cities, so they have to like shut down a part of a city, right? So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, so like ours was like in this rundown, like car storage area, and it was just like it was like a dump, but they set the course up and you would never know, like it's like a little dump that they built these courses on. So it was cool. It was cold as hell when we did ours. It was in Pittsburgh. So my run was in like October, November time frame. It was freezing.
30 in the morning.
Freezing.
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna have to go back and YouTube that because I need to see this run. But
yeah, it was
man.
fun. Like I did okay. Like they had like this little it's called the S ladder. It's like this little ladder, but it like tilts side to side. All I recall is like my entire my right rib cage got like ate up. Like I fell so hard on the ladder.
Burning. Well, hey man, it's
fun.
An amazing way to showcase your skills, though.
Yeah,
amazing way to showcase your skills, get the name out there, and kind of show people what you're about, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
I'm glad that Jackie touched on this because this is something that we'll probably never talk to anybody on this podcast ever again that's done this. So when you're getting ready the night before or that morning mentally, what was going through your mind, man? Like, just walk me through like what was going on mental side of things.
Man, like a lot of stuff was going through my mind. Like I was like, okay, the pressure of it's going to be televised, the pressure of you got to finish the course, the pressure of not messing up, like all that stuff was running through my mind. And then on top of that, you have like the weather elements, the crowd, all that stuff, man. It was just, I was more of like excited. I wasn't necessarily like concerned about failing, more to say, but once you get on top of that platform, all the stuff hits you at like one time, and like you just feel that because it's national TV, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's probably like that is the biggest show, sports wise that I've participated in. So, it was just like I felt like a lot of different like things that day, but it was like I said, it was a cool experience. I would love to do it again. Now I know what to expect. It's kind of like doing something for the first time. You don't know what to expect. That second time through is like, all right, I'm ready to go now. Like all the jitters are out. So I think if I ever get a second chance on, I'll do a lot better. So
yeah,
absolutely,
a little bit more comfortable with it for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I would say this too, and we have a lot of listeners that, our athletes, obviously, that are trying to get out of their comfort zone, get out of their shell a little bit. Any advice for our athletes that are looking to try something like that for the first time, like really get out there and expose themselves to new stuff?
So this old guy. He was actually one of my uncles. He told me something that was, to me, was like profound in every aspect. He was like, what do you have to lose? Like, if you don't get it, you never had it in the first place. So it's not like you're going to lose anything. So I guess my advice to be like, go out and try. You never know what door, like, or opportunities that's going to open up just by taking that first step. And it goes back to, even like for me with strength and conditioning, like at the time, Maryville didn't have a strength and conditioning program. I just took a risk calling UT's strength program. I was like, hey, I'm trying to get into strength and conditioning. And they were like, yeah, come on in. Fast forward, the same guy that hired me as an intern at the University of Tennessee is now the director for strength and conditioning for the Bills. So that same door that opened back up in 2002 opened up 20 years later through the same guy I started with. So you got to you have to take a risk, man. Like, you can't sit in there.
Well, I think it confidence piece, right? It's tough because I think that's where a lot of it happens is somebody doesn't know if they're good enough. Somebody doesn't know if they're ready for something. But man, you just got to jump feet first in sometimes, and just be ready for the challenge and trust your preparation for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like for myself, like anytime a big opportunity ever came, I've had to make a decision like on a small amount of time, like a week or 3 days. And usually that's how it happens. Like, opportunity comes, it comes fast. You gotta respond fast. You don't have a lot of times to necessarily think about it. You just gotta go and trust your skill set that you're confident to accomplish whatever it is put in front of you. So
yeah, and I guess we're working with the troops and working with your branch of the military. I mean, you never know what's going to happen out there. So you're preparing guys to be fit for all different kinds of scenarios. And I kind of wanted to ask you about this, working with, the military, what kind of anxiety, what kind of different mental struggles are you seeing, in the strength and conditioning kind of realm?
Well, I think for me, like, from what I've saw is compared to like a professional team or a collegiate team, like you get a lot more broader spectrum in regarding like skill levels, fitness levels. So you got people who've never, and it's mind blowing, but you have people who've never really exercised prior to coming into the military, which is shocking because the military is a physically demanding job.
Absolutely.
And so like you get beginners, you have advanced. So I'm dealing with a wide water of guess backgrounds regarding fitness wise that I have to attend to. So it keeps me mentally sharp. There's a lot more one-on-one, more to say, with the military side, just because you're dealing with so many different diverse fitness backgrounds. But overall, like I like it because like you have that level of those people at the bottom, more to say, have something to shoot for.
Yeah.
I want to get to this level of tier 1, whatever the case may be, fitness wise. So it kind of helps in the sense that motivation factor is there because, no one wants to be left behind. And then you take into the concept of, I don't want to be unphysically fit going into combat. Like there's a higher fitness level, focus wise on their end,
for sure,
because it's such a physically demanding task. So
for sure.
Well,
I want to go ahead, Jackie.
Because I'll go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Jackie.
Well, I was just gonna say it's just interesting that going into combat things, it's like when you prepare for a sport, you're like preparing for a game. But when you're trying to get in shape for the military, it's like actually do or die, because if you're not ready in combat, sort of like in a game, So it seems it's kind of cool that you're able to train people strength and conditioning wise to prepare for battle in the sense of real battle and battle in the sense of like an athletic battle. I think it's cool that you've done it on all levels.
Yeah, well, and I get that question a lot. Like when I go and speak at different conferences and things like that, first question I always ask is like, what's the difference between that you see between traditional sports and combat? And
That's
I'll
exactly what I was gonna ask. And me and Jackie are always on the same. That's exactly what I was gonna ask. So go ahead, please.
and I'm like, yeah, like similarities wise, like, you know, a squat is still a squat, a press is still a press, but the difference is theirs is more, meaning theirs military tactical side is more of it's a life and death. Like you don't know what terrains you're going to be going on necessarily. You don't know what to expect when you're going into various environments. There's always different elements regarding like there's mountains, there's water, there's sea, there's all types of that. Football, like you know exactly what you're going to be facing. Like you're going to be on the grass field, you know you're going to be at, if you're going to say Denver, you know you're going to be facing altitude. You know you're going to be playing for 4 quarters. You know the time zone is time limit is going to be 15 minutes per quarter. That's not necessarily true on the tactical side. So I feel like in a sense, like I feel like in tactical environment, you have to be physically and more mentally fit because there's no really set time limit on if you go into battle. You may be in that battle for a couple minutes or it could be a couple days. You don't know. It's just something mentally you have to be prepared for. And you really can't prepare for that. If you think about it, like, how can you prepare for days of combat? You really can't. So you just have to turn on that switch knowing like, all right, this is a life or death scenario. I have my battle buddies with me. And I feel like from the stories that guys have talked to me about, it's just like, that's that internal factor that keeps them motivated. Is like, I got my people around me here, you know, we're fighting for each other. So that's that motivating factor for a lot of them.
I love that. And 2 things come to mind for me right away. So that Mike Tyson quote, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna get hit in the mouth. Like, it's about how you respond, right? Like that's the big thing. And like, I love that perspective of you don't know what's gonna happen out there.
No.
The only thing you can control is how you keep going. And I love even in this standpoint, even this kind of realm, you're still leaning on your battle buddies, your support group to lean on and get through these tough days too. I think that's super strong, man. So I appreciate your feedback there.
For sure. And you know, like that's how I kind of tailor some of my workouts as well too. Like there's a little section in the workouts. Well, I'll just put, it's called mental tough training day. I don't put what it's going to be. They just have to be there. And once we go into that portion of the workout, they just get hit. All right, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And all I'm trying to do is trying to get them to adapt in the sense that, all right, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm going to adapt to it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to push through this workout. So that's the thing I can to kind of simulate that unexpected. So
no, I'm with you completely. Yeah, man. It's response over reaction, I feel like, is super important in both of your fields. But go ahead, Luke.
No, I was just kind of going to pivot a little bit now to the athlete side of things, right? You know, you're doing the preseason internship with the Bills, and those guys are playing for paychecks.
Yeah.
Right. They're playing to put food on the table. And what kind of what are the differences you see there? Right. You know, you know what the expectations are. Every play is going to last 3 seconds. Every play is going to last 3 to 7 seconds. Right. So that's kind of your interval there. How do you plan on preparing, you know, those guys and working with your team to get those boys prepared for any given Sunday?
Yeah, like I talked about this once before I felt like it was easier in a sense. And I don't mean easier in the sense of working with the athletes, like the caliber of the athlete. They're just they're just intrinsically motivated. Like,
Yeah.
They have a set goal. They trust the subject matter expertise, which is, myself and all the other staff members that were on there. But it's just like, I didn't have to like force them to do anything. Like, it was like, okay, we're going to do this today. They go in there and knock that stuff out, man. Like, I felt like it was almost like not a joke, but I was like, damn, these $1 million players are listening to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they don't have to,
Yeah.
they're arrogant, you know what I mean? So it was very rewarding to see like how they really depended on and trusted like the entire staff, from the strength staff to the physical therapy staff to the nutritionist, whatever, because they wanted to get better. And it like I said, it's a team goal. So it was beautiful seeing a team effort, even though you're dealing with different individuals. Everybody still had that same goal, from the head coach all the way up to the GM. Like, it was amazing, bro. It was amazing. Like,
have you ever heard of Brett Bartholomew?
From Tennessee?
Strength and conditioning guy. He's a strength and conditioning guy.
Yeah.
That's a book I just got done reading, was one of his called Conscious Coaching. And it kind of breaks down different player, it says archetypes, but it's basically just people personalities. And so I was kind of wondering, what were the personalities like in that NFL room, in the strength and conditioning, or do you have a lot of big personalities, or what's kind of the vibe like whenever you go into those situations, man?
Like, the vibe that I experienced in Buffalo was like, it was more of a family vibe. Like,
okay,
there's been places where, you have the guys who are very high horse ego, but it creates a bad atmosphere for everybody else. Like, in Buffalo, everybody loved going to work. Like, you have the one guy that's the jokester, the other guy that's kind of like the father of everyone, and then everyone else is kind of like your brother. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was cool, man. Like, I couldn't remodel that atmosphere if I tried. Like, it was a wonderful atmosphere. Like, the people were great, the team was great. Everyone that I met, the contacts that I met there, they were great. Always like friendly. Every morning, everyone like, hey, how you doing? So it was just the mood was set every day. Like, it's gonna be a great day. We're here to work. We're here to get better. Even though you may have your moments, your bad days, like it quickly went away just by being surrounded by that positive vibe set that you get every day.
I'll tell you this. So I'm glad you went there, because that's exactly where I was going to go with this. I'm a teacher, high school teacher, and I've worked at places where, you don't feel supported from the administration, and that really weighs on, a teacher. You can feel by yourself. You can get in your classroom and you can kind of be in your little place the whole day and not branch out, right? And now I'm working at a school where, we've got a new president this year. He comes out for lunch. He's sitting with different teachers every day at lunch, just kind of picking their brains on what they're doing. He's walking around the hallways. And so for me, the mental health side of things, which is kind of more of our focus, right? It starts from the top down. And we were talking a lot with other teachers today about how just, you can do as many plans, you can do as many strategic committees as you want from the top down, but it's really just that energy, man, that leaders bring to the table. And I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of where I was going with that. That's awesome.
Dude, that's so important. And, like, even with the success that I've experienced throughout my career, I've had those downsides as well too. You know what I mean? And it goes back to the energy that people bring. You know what I mean? Everyone doesn't fit on the team. You know what I mean? And it's hard to find sometimes those people that fit in jail, because that is very important. Like, the energy that a person brings, like if our team is full of positive energy, and then we bring in this one person that brings a lot of negative energy, well, sooner or later, that negative energy is going to rub off on the rest of the team. And then the whole team is going to become toxic. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's
absolutely
important. Like, you got to have
good.
Go ahead.
I think you'd be interested in the conscious coaching book because it talks about that, right? And it talks about how to pinpoint that person and then coach them appropriately within a team setting to try and get them back on board. And it, because they may be acting that way for a variety of different reasons, right?
Right.
It's hard to tell why some, you don't know everybody's experiences, you don't know everybody's past, so it's always best to lead with kindness, right?
It is,
And
man.
it's that book is crazy. It's like, okay, breaks down all these different crazy coaches from like all different professional sports backgrounds, and they talk about specific situations of times like that, right? Where you get one person, and how do you guide them back to the group? How do you lead them back to the group in a positive way? So I gotta get you the info for this stuff and let you kind of dive into this.
That sounds good. No, it's no, he's spot on, bro. Because like I said, I've been in that situation before, to where I've brought a person onto staff, and you thought that person was a good fit because you may have interacted with them before outside. You know how people can put up a front a lot of times, man.
Yeah,
and then you bring them to the community, and then it's like a cannonball. It's a fucking explosion. So you don't know how to, and that was a shock for me. I had never encountered that before, but it made me a lot more aware that you have to, dealing with people outside of work is different than dealing with people in the work environment.
Exactly.
Yes.
People change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point. With Jackie about to jump to a double, I know it's a good kind of time to have her jump in here and ask her question on this, because I feel like it goes right with this.
Yeah, I got to bounce and run to work, but I had my question for you, and then I'll listen to the rest of the episode, and I'll talk to you guys later about this. But I'm curious, was part of your job is to keep athletes and military personnel like sharp mentally and physically. So my question for you before I bounce out here is, what do you do to prepare? Like, how do you keep yourself sharp so that you can keep others sharp?
Well, for me, like, I think what's important, and like you guys have touched on it, like that mental health portion is important. So like for me, I have to get my own personal development in every day. So there's 5 that I focus on or I listen to daily to kind of help myself stay mentally sharp. So I call it my 5 F's, and which is fitness, fighting, some sort of martial arts, food. I try to make sure I have a good diet and things like that. My fitness, I say fitness, finances. I listen to stuff in regarding to money and things like that. So I just try to keep myself sharp through podcasts, being outside, doing some sort of like martial arts, and to me that's what helps keeps me very mentally sharp, because it's kind of like I have to de-escalate at times because it's a lot, because you're dealing with a lot of people's problems and you got all these different personalities you have to adapt to and things like that. So that's what has helped me out over the years, is just those 4 things right there. So
yeah, I love how simple that is too. I think because I think the simpler it is, the easier it is to implement into your life. I think, I've been working out this week. It's my first week back working out. Last fall I ran a lot, didn't hit the weight room. This year I feel like I'm losing my strength, so I want to get back and move some weights around. But the weight room is an intimidating place for people where, kind of like I'm not a naturally strong person. So I get in there and I'm pretty, in my head about stuff. But keeping it simple and just knowing, hey, I'm going to do these 3 movements today, or hey, I'm going to do these 3 things today, outside of the gym to make my life better. I think that's a really achievable goal for people looking to make a switch in their life right now.
Bingo, man. That's what I'm saying too. I think I've mentioned this probably on 10 episodes, but making it simple, making your non-negotiable simple, but not making them easy. That would be the first thing, right? Because making sure that you have your workouts on a piece of paper on your phone ahead of time makes it simple. When you get in there, man, it's going to be a dogfight, right? Like, it's going to be a dogfight, you against you. How can I get this done today, and how can I be productive? The second thing, I love what DeJuan said about, his F's, right? That's simple, but damn, it's not easy. But what it does do for him, it builds him to be a better person, one. And two, it lets you establish relationships with the education, with the knowledge you're bringing in, because every conversation you can bring something to it. I think there's so much power there too. And DeJuan, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I feel like it's a big part of your social life as well.
It is, man. Like, and I had like, and that dawned on me just like one day I was just like self-reflecting. I was like, what are the things that, more or less to say, build, or if people had to put DeJuan into single words, what 4 things would they say about you? And of course, it would be fitness. I'm heavily involved in fitness. The fighting regarding to martial arts, food wise, dieting, things like that, and finances. Those are the 4 things, man. And I feel like those are like 4 pillars that are constantly causing some sort of mental issue in someone's life. If you peel back the labels, they're having some type of finance issues, fitness issues, and fitness goes into mental health, physical health, some fighting, self-confidence, things like that, and food wise, dieting. Do they have some type of ailment due to poor dieting, something like that? So a lot of the issues that we encounter are geared back to those 4 things, and those are the 4 things that I've kind of built myself upon, my name, my reputation, and I try to just branch out and share that information with anyone I come across. So I'm like you. I'm not like I don't make my stuff super complex, because it's really simple than more people really think it than they make it out to be. Like, a lot of people make stuff way too complex, and it's really not that complex. It's very simple. If I put a freaking carrot and a candy bar in front of you and ask you which one's going to provide you long-term nutrition, right from wrong. But you get like all this different information that's thrown out there, and it causes people like anxiety, because they're like, okay, I got to get on this diet, I got to take this diet, I got to do this workout plan. I'm like, look, just get out and do something every day, clean up your eating a little bit every day, and just build off that. It's really that simple. But people make
I mean, dude, I made one change in the past, I think about 3 weeks. I was having stomach issues last year. I had missed school, 2 days at a time, sometimes a couple times during the year. And all I did this year was change from a piece of pizza as a side, like at lunch, to a salad.
It's easy.
And now my stomach has been so much better. My energy levels throughout the day has been so much better. I've been, ready to work out after school. I've been ready for my afternoon classes. Whereas, 1 o'clock class, 2 o'clock class, I mean, my energy levels, I'm an energetic person, but after lunch, I can feel my energy levels dipping. So this past month has just been a world of difference, just making that diet change. So I think it can start right there. If it starts there, then you can make a lot of great changes in your life.
For sure, man.
Yeah. DeJuan, I'm going to tell you this, man. I could tell you're a speaker, because what you just put together there for our listeners for over the last 2 minutes is a roadmap that could save somebody's life. And I mean that wholeheartedly. And Luke, you could tell kind of when I'm into it, like, I'm really into this right now, because from someone that kind of didn't have any F's at one point to a guy that really has non-negotiables now, this roadmap is incredible. So I really appreciate, not only for myself, Luke, and Jackie today, but our listeners who jumped on today or tomorrow and they said, I need a plan for Monday and I don't know where to start. You supplied that simply and very candidly. So I appreciate you for that.
For sure, man. And I hope somebody gets some sort.
Oh, I guarantee you they will. I guarantee you they will, man. I guarantee you.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys a lot.
No, I love it. No, I love it, man. And here's what I'm going to ask you, because like I said, I do some speaking stuff myself, and I've been around speakers that have this kind of energy and this knowledge and how to relay their message, right? I don't think it's always been this easy for you. Like, I don't think it hasn't. I can just tell you have some pain and some things that you've gone through. We haven't even talked on it yet. Give me your keep going moment.
Bro, the keep going moment for me, like, oh God, man. We can talk about this for 2 hours.
Hey man, let it rip, boy. It's your
well,
schedule.
yeah, we're here for you, man. We're here for you.
This is the type of I love talking about people more about my failures than my success. Because I think when people think about the whole scope of success, they only think about the positive stuff. But for me, it's been the failures that has made me what I am now. Like, that has kept me driven, from being an entrepreneur to, you know, at Maryville when I was put on academic probation, like like little small like, and that's the thing, man. I've lost jobs before. Dude, I can touch on a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know how deep you want to go, but if I had to tell people, within any failure, every single failure that for myself that I've encountered, that's been a growth point for me. You know what I mean? Because, and I think it takes a level of maturity to actually sit back and dissect, you know, when you're going through that failure. It's easy just to focus on, damn, I lost my job, or I didn't, you know, make this team, or whatever the case may be. Like, if you're honest with yourself, there's always some level of growth that you can find within that failure. And for me, that has been the key factor that's kept me, like, motivated and driven. Like, for me, failure is not an option. I don't see it as failure. I just see it as a life lesson. You know what I mean? Like, just say, for instance, like I said, I was put on academic probation when I was in undergrad, and I wasn't even expected to graduate. Like, and here I am now. I've graduated. I got a master's degree. I'm on the alumni board. Like, if you would have told me that back in 2000, they would have said that motherfucker right there is going to flunk out. Like, he's going to flunk out. Because I was just focused on football, man. But it's just that punch in the face moment where you're like, all right, shit's going to get real here soon. And I know what I'm capable of, and I just have to apply myself. So I've just taken that approach in, like, everything, man. Like,
hey, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
Exactly,
that's
man.
it. That's the quote. That's the quote.
That's the best quote, like, it's out there, because it's true, man. Everybody thinks
they thought you may not graduate, and you wrote a whole book, dude. That's insane.
Whole book,
you know?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, man. Like, you know, I'm still not where I want to be, career wise, because there's some other things that I would like to do, but, you know, that road has, and that's life, man. It's gonna be bumpy, and you just have to put that seatbelt on, grip that steering wheel tight, because the bumps are going to happen. It's inevitable, man. The bumps are going to happen. I think for a lot of people, that's where they just stop. They hit a pothole, tire goes flat. They're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna sit right here. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. They sit in their comfort zone. You can't do that. Like, stuff is gonna happen. Like, shit's gonna hit the fan to everybody, and you have to be able to come out of that black hole and, you know, get your shit together and dig deep. Like, hey, what is my end goal here? Like, what am I trying to accomplish? Like,
man.
You know, people gonna hate all that shit, all that stuff, man. Like, that stuff is going to happen. You just have to be strong enough to be like, man, F them. That's my 5th F, but I didn't say it on your podcast.
That's funny. You gotta get the 5th one. You gotta get the 5th one in there,
I'll
right?
give you all 5 again. It's fitness, fighting, finances, food, and fuck the haters. So,
man, I'm sitting here and mine's faith. I'm like, damn, what's his 5th F? I found out what it is.
That's bro. Like,
man, I love this. I love this too, Luke. I'll let you go. Like, how just authentic this is, right? Like I love how you came on here today and you were like, you know what? This is who I am, and this is how I'm getting where I want to go. And like I said, I think there's a lot of power in that. My question I had before I kind of wrap up today, this isn't like all for you though. I feel like there's something where like a relationship or someone you've met along the way. Can you elaborate on someone that's motivated you, someone that's been there for you?
I have to say it's my parents, like for sure. My parents for sure. Both of them are passed away, but like I have a big picture of them sitting right here at my desk stand. And for me, it's just like whenever I get tired or deceased, or if I feel like, all right, I'm about to quit this, I just look at this right here. Because I look at the struggle they went through, that they sacrificed for me, and I know like they were able to see a lot of the accomplishments that I made, but it's just that's that internal factor that I have to keep going on, man, keep pressing forward, because ultimately that's their name that I'm carrying. So I'm not only representing myself, but it's my parents as well. You know what I mean? It's my family's name, things like that. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. My parents, my mom's a self-employed seamstress. You know, she works on dresses every day. She works with her hands every day. My dad has lost his job previously when he was a manager at Kmart. Now he's working at a Kellogg's factory. And, you know, that guy works 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, 60 years old, you know, and sometimes I just feel lazy compared to what they do. And you're right, man, that pops in your head and it'll set you right real quick.
Yeah, man.
Like real quick.
I always say like our parents' generation has had the tougher skin. You know what I mean? Like they went through so much stuff that we didn't have to go through. You know what I mean? Like, so it's motivating. Like you almost want to punch your own self in the face thinking that you want to quit because you can't quit.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's not gonna break you, man. It's just gonna make you stronger. You know, that's all it is. And I know it's cliche. But it's the everyday battle, you against you. But you're doing it for you, and you're doing it for your people. I think that's powerful too. And I know, on a deeper note, I know your mom and dad are looking down, like, look at my baby boy and what he's doing right now.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
they are. And like I said, man, that's what keeps me motivated. You know what I mean? And anytime I get like the opportunity to come onto a podcast, you guys have me on. This is like my third podcast in like 3 months. But I feel like it's an opportunity for me to share my story. You know what I mean? Like, it's my testimony. And it's just like, I'm not going to turn down an opportunity, because you never know, just by hearing this, whose life is going to be changed from there. So
exactly.
Absolutely.
Man, I couldn't agree more. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's when me and Pat started, we said we could affect one life positively, then this whole podcast, this whole business is going to be worth it. And, you know, we did our own episode of just me and Pat, but we knew that we had to get other people on here to tell their testimony, to tell their story and affect change, because there's so many people out there that are doing the right things, and that have struggled, right, to get to where they're at. And people got to know that they're not alone in that. And people got to know that they can make it through the struggle. So I think you've helped so many people out today.
I appreciate it.
I couldn't agree more. And I just had a group of ladies yell at me from the car wash I just passed. That was crazy. We ride on. I guess they're feeling the energy. They're feeling the energy. But here's what I'll say, DeJuan. I appreciate your time. I'm going to get you back to the end of this Bills game. But before I let you wrap up, I need to know your socials. Where can people find you? Because there's some impact to still be made here.
Yeah, for sure. Social media, I'm on Facebook. I have a fitness page under Hathaway Fitness. And then my Instagram page is Hollywood Hathaway 5. Those are like my two big social media pages that I interact on. If you want to find me, I don't have a huge following on IG. My first page got hacked, so I'm rebuilding that up. So I'm trying to build.
Hey, hopefully we can help with that, man. All we got is athletes, and I'm telling you, our biggest episode, one of them, was the Brother Bill episode, and all the Bills fans follow us. So I know once we throw the Bills stuff up, it's gonna blow up just because of who you are and what you represent,
They're
man.
gonna love it.
I appreciate
love
it. You guys got an awesome platform, and keep doing what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing.
Nah, man, DeJuan, we appreciate you, man.
That.
I was definitely touched by today's episode. I appreciate everything that you are and what you represent. And my boy, above all else, guys, let's keep going, all right?
Yes,
Keep
sir.
going, baby.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
going, baby. Yes, sir.